Hey, Kris, welcome back to What's New in Digital. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How about you?
Well, I'm excited to hear about your new AI topics. I know this has
Yes.
been a trend for you talking about AI all the time. So let's dive in and hear what number one is.
I know I was laughing about that. I was like, oh, this is my third what's new. And I'm like, oh, I'm always talking about AI tools, but there's always new AI tools and they are so cool. So one that I really love, and it's not just for marketing, although I think it has great marketing applications as well, is ReadAI, which is just a bot that comes on meetings and it'll give you a summary of the meeting and it'll give you to-do lists and things like that. But what I often find happens, especially when talking with a client or brainstorming, anything like that, is there's going to be some nugget of an idea you forget. And now having it all transcribed and it even pulls out things that it deems the nuggets and it's right like 95% of the time. I'm shocked at how correct it is.
I want to call out the elephant in the room of AI, which is taking away jobs. In this case, it might be someone who shows up to meetings and their primary role is to take notes. Can you talk about how is it doing this better than a human and anything you're noticing that a human might still be doing better?
Well, I think I think that we could use a human in different ways, right? So if it's just transcribing, if it's 100% transcription, then the AI is going to be as good, if not better, because that's its role is to just transcribe and it doesn't have any interpretation on it. But if the role is to interpret in some capacity, I think still humans are better at doing that
Mhm.
interpretation. But what I'd love to see is the person who was taking the notes become a more active, like just train that person in a little different way. So maybe that person is facilitating in some capacity, which the AI
Mhm.
isn't going to be able to do. So you've got then the AI that's taken these notes, then you've got a facilitator that's helped moving things along, that's
Mhm.
maybe making sure you don't go too far off track. The AI isn't going to do that.
Right.
So you could become, the meetings could become more of a powerhouse. So you get exactly the bullet list you need after the meetings
Mhm.
on track. It can be shorter. I think there's so many ways that we're going to find that this augments things versus takes people out of jobs.
Mhm. Do you see the AI eventually getting to the point where it could facilitate or maybe have some pop-ups for you of like, if it was for a sales meeting, just having a pop-up, be like, you haven't asked enough questions. Your average is 30 questions per sales meeting and you've only asked three in the first 10 minutes, or other ways it might be able to help you with that in the future. I'm just
Yeah,
kind of futurizing what might be
yeah.
possible.
No, I do think actually, in fact, they give you a summary after the meeting of did you speak enough? What were it's looking for tonality, like were people's tones towards you positive or negative? So
It can detect that.
it gives you a score. So it's
Oh,
telling
very interesting.
and you too, like were you showing that you were interested and respectful, or were you showing you were a little disinterested? And
What was our score yesterday? Score
I think
yesterday. I know you said
87.
what? Wait, what was 87
Out
for?
of 87 is good. I actually don't think I've seen it above an 87%. I think 100% might be like you're looking into the camera 100% of the time. And I don't know the exact methods of the algorithm. So it's going to be looking into the camera. It's got to be
Mhm.
tonality. It's probably volume.
Mhm. Wait, did you score an 87 or did I score an
We
87?
both had 87.
Okay, wait, what's your lowest score?
82. I
Okay,
think
so you're pretty good.
my range is pretty small. I'm pretty consistent, but
Uh, so I
I
could
find
see
people fascinating.
so I could see CEOs using this for feedback to people as well. If they, are telling someone, hey, you're mansplaining, hey, you're talking over people. I'm assuming this rating score could be a way for the CEO to say, hey, this isn't just me, you got a 65.
It gives you a number of interruptions. How many times did you interrupt?
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. No, it's really cool. So if you were in HR department and you were getting these transcripts, not that I'm suggesting this, but you could be like, oh, Kris interrupts a lot. Maybe we need to help her learn some tools for waiting. like maybe, and I mean, I do actually have a little bit of an interrupting problem. So I've learned a couple methods. Like I have to count to 3 to make sure the person's actually done, that wasn't like a pause for a breath.
Right. Did we do well yesterday on interruptions?
Mhm.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah. You're not
Uh,
bad. I've never noticed you interrupt a lot.
I usually listen, and if I am going to interrupt, I usually say, hey, I want to interject here. So they're kind of embracing for it.
You did that once yesterday, but I think
I
she was paused, like she
It's
was
you.
winding down. So
It's usually when someone's rambling, and I'm just like, you're not getting us to where we need to go. So that's why I interject. So sometimes interjection can be appropriate if someone's rambling or off topic.
yes. My problem is I get really excited. I've all got all these ideas coming in. Creativity is definitely my wheelhouse. So someone will say something and it'll inspire this creative idea, and I don't want to lose it. So I'm like, oh, what if we did da 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 da? But it's taking them off of their track. So I have to learn to like make a little note, count to 3 after their pause, make sure they're really ready to hear it, and then go.
What's your number 2?
I'm really liking Qlip.ai, which is QLIP, which you can upload. Like we could upload this meeting into that, and it will make like 50 different 1-minute clips for us, and it will annotate them as well. So let's say there were a couple things we wanted to use on social. Instead of having to like go through and say, oh, I want a clip from here to here, it's automatically got all the clips broken up, and we can go in and pull them. And you can add a little bit before or a little bit after. Like it's easy to edit. I'm not a person who does a lot of not graphic video editing. So having that to then, and even just to send to someone. So there was a meeting I was doing with another fractional CMO the other day, and we were talking about a client for a few minutes, and the stuff we were saying, I'm like, oh, this would be great for them to hear. Just pull that 5-minute clip and send it to them as a little value add.
So I want to get a little technical because I know you posted this in Slack, and I looked at it and I thought it was really cool. Is it something that needs to be connected to Zoom, or do you,
No.
We have this Zoom, I'm downloading it, then I upload it, and then it spits everything out?
Yes. Or you could just
Okay.
like if you uploaded this to YouTube, you could just put the YouTube link in there. You wouldn't even have to upload it.
And I could download those videos from YouTube then?
You would put the YouTube link into Qlip.ai, and then you could download it from Qlip.ai, the clips.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Very cool.
It's very cool. It makes things so much easier. I mean, I think that's hours and hours of work that one's saving.
It is. I'm going to write this note down to remind Jenna to take a look at that for our own social content.
They do an hour free trial, so you can upload up to an hour's worth of video. So it could be, 3 15-minute ones or 4 15-minute ones. Wow, math. Or it could be an hour-long one, and it'll do it.
Let's hear number 3.
So, I mean, I'm still a huge fan of ChatGPT. It's just about finding different ways to use it. So I think some of the obvious ones are writing or copy for anything, right? Copy for landing pages, copy for ads, all of that stuff. But I really like utilizing it for business development and for building brand guidelines as well, and competitive analysis. So I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of those other ways we could use it.
Yeah, tell us.
So let's say you're fairly new on the scene and you want to do a quick market analysis. Like what is your competition out there? So you could put in, if this is using GPT-4 because you need it to be able to actually go on the web versus 3. But if you're using ChatGPT-4, you can give it your website and a little information about what you do, and then ask it to do a competitive analysis. So first, you can start by having it find competitors, because it might find ones you weren't aware of. Then you put in those and the ones you're aware of, and you can have it do a SWOT analysis of each of those. Then you can even put in the different SWOT analysis and have it tell you I mean, you can do it yourself, but you can also have it look at, okay, where are the holes?
Mhm.
And then you can overlay different groups. So let's say you have a little bit of a different niche. You can say, okay, given this competitive analysis and this niche, this target audience, what do you think some possible, marketing language points are, or
Mhm.
what are some additions I can make to the product to make it even more stand out from the rest of the competition?
Mhm.
So you can start to use it as this brainstorming thing. That the thing I love about it is if you're training it, it's oh, I love that. That's not quite what I'm looking for. And if you're using it as a person you're talking with, it starts to hone more into what you're looking for. And
Mhm.
that's really where I think a lot of the value is in it.
Very cool. Tell us a little bit more of other fun ways you're using ChatGPT that might not be our typical copywriting example.
Yeah, I mean, I think understanding your own tone in a web page is another one. So let's say you've got some people that are working with you and they've done writing, and so maybe your website has different tones in it. So you can have it look at the whole thing and give you areas that don't
Mhm.
sound like the other, or what tone do I use? So for instance, I know when I have it evaluate my writing, it's typically direct marketing, um, with a little bit of a humorous tone. So I tend to write in that tone in
Mhm.
general. And I was trained in direct, Dan Kennedy style copywriting. So I'm very like direct marketing. I can't even get away from it when I'm trying. So that you'll see that'll be consistently in mind. So if I were having somebody do some writing for me and I wanted to continue in that voice, having ChatGPT pull all that in, like, okay, you write in this style and this, and here are some hallmark things that show it's that style. Now I can hand that guide, that tone voice guide, off to another copywriter so that they can work with that and make sure that it's consistent with the rest of my website.
Got it. I want to take a step back and differentiate between ChatGPT and ChatGPT 4. Can you
Okay.
tell us what the differences are?
So they have, different, I'm sure I'm going to miss some, but the big one is that ChatGPT 4 has access to current data, whereas
Mhm.
ChatGPT 3, I can't remember if that's the one that ends in 2018 or
I think it's
20.
2021.
Okay. So, that if it's a newer website, it's not going to have access. Actually, I love it for going back to find a website, oh, what did that say 3 years ago? Like, I
Mhm.
love going and using ChatGPT 3 for that, or the Wayback Machine. That's also another place you'd go. But I think that's one of the things. I also find the 3 has a lot of hyperbole, which it's gotten a lot better. Because I mean, I think it's great to use the AI writing tools as a partner in writing, but they're still not there where you want to use it to write the whole thing, because it'll have circular logic. Sometimes the facts aren't correct. It's
Mhm.
gotten better. I'd say 3 versus 4, the facts are becoming more accurate, but those, you need to fact check everything. I would
Mhm.
definitely not just rely on it as something that's factual. Let's see, what else? I do think you can see some of the word choices. Sometimes it's throwing in great words, but they're not appropriate in that context. So
Mhm.
I'm noticing that with 4, actually, a little more than 3. It's trying to expand the vocabulary, but its usage isn't quite where it should be.
And how much does I always butcher ChatGPT 4 cost? What's the subscription plan?
I actually don't know. I'm like one of the beta testers, so
Oh, you got in.
yeah, so I don't pay for it yet. The other Kris pays for it. I want to say it was like $20 a
I
month or
think
something.
it's 20 or 25-ish.
Yeah, somewhere around there. But I still pay for Midjourney. Like, that's the image one. I know I'm throwing in a bonus one. I love using the image AI. It is just
Let's just wrap up in a minute and share a little bit about Midjourney and why you like it so much.
okay. You can create any image that you can conceive of. So not even just, oh, I want to make these images for my page. You could even say, draw out the whole web page for me, or landscape my backyard, like show me a Zen backyard that's 400 by 30 square feet. So you can just, again, any of these tools that can help enhance your creativity, because it's a brainstorming partner. I think creativity is what we need against AI in a way, when you're talking about that job thing.
Right.
Like someone needs to provide inputs and things like that. But if you can help yourself tap into your creativity by having a brainstorming partner that is AI, I think that's the best of all worlds.
Perfect. Thank you, Kris. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.